Yes.
Okay, holy shit. We're here.
We
Camera
did it.
issue.
Yes.
I'm hot as fuck in this hoodie.
Yes.
Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me, is it Adam von Rothfelder?
There we go.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Adam von Rothfelder. The first time I ever heard my grandpa pronounce my name the way it was actually, the German pronunciation. No,
Okay.
It was,
German.
Yeah, it was like von Rutenfelder.
Oh,
and
that
I was
sounds
like,
better.
I was like, whoa, von Rutenfelder, yeah?
Yeah, that's very
And-
official.
Yeah, it sounded very official. My grandpa, 96 years old, and came here when he was 18 and still had a very thick German accent. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with von Rothfelder.
Yeah, that's way easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
But nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
Nice to meet
stopping
you
by
too.
on your tour to Houston. How's it going?
It's going great. It's
Yeah.
going great. Yeah, I haven't spent much time in Houston. I
Okay.
came here one time for maybe 18 hours to speak at a conference, and it was
Okay.
in and out. I really love the Houston water wall. I got to check that out. I don't know how far we are away from that.
Yeah, it's cute. That's by the Galleria area.
Yeah. Caleb hasn't seen it, so I was gonna.
No, it's
I was
cute.
like,
You'll get some good photos.
Yeah, it's a good photo op.
Yeah.
We checked out the Post today. The
Oh, okay.
market.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
That's cool.
Yeah, we went and got some food there.
Okay.
Before we came here,
Yeah.
we served coffee at Alpha Land,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Strong Coffee. That's your brand, or
Strong
you're
Coffee.
founder of Strong Coffee. Of course, we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
How was Alpha Land? I haven't even been there. It's a whole. Well, first of all, you're a big gym guy, right?
I am a big
Yeah.
gym guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm actually a big gym girl.
Hey.
I mean, you kind of can't
I get
tell.
down with it.
But
I
yeah.
dig that. Yeah. Alpha Land was great. I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I am a big gym guy in the sense that I love movement. I love fitness culture.
Okay.
Right. There are these things that I really like about it. I feel like a lot of the industry is, lost and caught up in a lot of vanity, which is actually why I saw myself out of the industry and segued into Strong Coffee from being this, pretty accomplished, trainer. I mean, I was trained professional athletes and movie stars. I owned a gym for 7 years and, but it was something that I just, I felt like it just makes people better. It's not about them being better because they look better, but just their characters change. When you go through a certain amount of adversity, self-applied, and then sometimes when you have a trainer externally applied, beyond your limits, you kind of find out what you're made of. And I think that's a really cool thing to go through life knowing what's possible, what your capacity is.
Yeah.
And so I think Alpha Land is full of those types of people there, that are kind of pushing the limits physically, that are no doubt expanding their minds mentally. You have to go to a very certain place, to get to the level of fit in the sense of, aesthetics or speed or strength or whatever it is, their goal. And Alpha Land's full of these people, and it was pretty cool. I mean, that Christian Guzman is the founder, and I don't know much about him other than the fact that he was a trainer that got kicked out of a lot of gyms because he would do content. He would film stuff.
Okay.
I knew what it's like. I know what it's like to get kicked out of gyms. I would recommend somebody advice on their deadlift, and I would get my gym membership revoked. Just weird stuff because people. I grew up. I was living in a city that people knew I was the owner of this gym downtown. Okay. And I still had memberships though at other gyms because I liked working.
You were getting kicked out of gyms that you were going to.
Yeah, that I was just going to. Yeah,
because you were offering
friendly, not even
unsolicited
advice. People would recognize me because I was on TV.
Okay.
Doing a fitness segment on the news.
Okay.
So somebody would be like, "Hey man, how's my deadlift form look?" And I'd tell them, and then all of a sudden I'm, getting a membership.
Dang, they
revoked.
can kick you out for that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So Christian was went through the same adversity and then ultimately started, Alpha Land from this brand Alpha Elite that he was doing and built this little gym and then turned it into a big gym.
Yeah.
So it's like Disney and, Equinox, or a high-end gym.
Yeah. I used to go to Equinox.
Meets, cafe and a clothing store. I mean, it's just,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty epic. It's 18.5 acres.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I only know that very specific stat because I made a post about it today, just like
Right.
saying like
That's insane.
what a great experience. But 18.5 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, because you started off by kind of saying like, you know, vanity, like fitness can be vanity. And like, I know people are in alpha land, just social media content creating up the wazoo. So how do you feel about how people do take the gym thing? And
I think it's one thing to track your progress, show your journey, be inspiring to others, like a form of aspiration, you know, as somebody's muse of sorts, you know, to what their physical future could look like. I think that when we mistake influencers for educated trainers,
right,
that's the problem. And most of these people that are doing coaching for you have their own coaches because they don't even know how to program for themselves. And most of them don't have certifications. And I don't think you have to live and die by a cert.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what does a 21-year-old girl know about metabolic health, you know, education, unless she's actually like studied it?
Yeah.
You know, along with all these other things. Sorry, this wine's making my throat just a little dry.
Oh, cheers. Did we do that yet?
My tannins be popping.
Okay. Or a 21-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah. Just like a newbie.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of this like, people want things fast.
Yeah.
Right. And so Instagram, like they want it quick and even quicker than quick. They want it instantly.
Immediately. The attention span is negative.
So I think ultimately none of them, you know, really have gone through the adversity that most people are going through that are seeking that type of help. So I don't feel like they're equipped for that type of help. I knew somebody that was like writing an article on how to stay fit when having kids and he didn't have kids. And I'm like, how could you actually how could you understand it?
Yeah.
Like, did you borrow somebody's kids for a week and prove to everybody that you like, you know, like what research did you do?
Yeah.
That lets you think that, because somewhere out there, some fucking poor schmuck dad is like thinking he's a piece of shit because like he can't get to the gym.
Right.
Right. Like he can't be fit because like this article comes out and undermines, you know, his situation.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting. Like a lot of people, you know, they're in these positions of authority because they have following, and we don't even know why they have a following. Right. And I mean, like some of these fitness girls online, you're like, holy fuck, they have 500,000 followers. And you're like, oh, they're like a top 1% OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But they're doing fitness coaching. No disrespect. But like at the same time, you know, you're not really a trainer. Like I hope somebody with real problems.
You just do great in the gym.
Yeah. You're
good
just like,
at staying fit and healthy. And
like that's awesome that you have great willpower and determination.
Yeah.
For yourself. You know, like how are you gonna
for yourself?
How are you gonna pass it on to somebody else through a written program for $39.99 or $1,000 or you know whatever scale level of tier that they're trying to drop you into their funnel?
Yeah,
you know, when it comes to marketing, and so
do you still train? Obviously, you train yourself, but like, do you still train athletes or people?
No, I haven't
out
done
of that.
No.
Out of that life.
No, I'm very much a burn the boats kind of dude. You know,
what does that mean?
It means when I walk away from something, I don't just walk away from it, I blow it up.
Oh.
There is no going back. Backwards is in progress, right? So for like me, it's like when I decide to move on, I'm moving on. And there's very, very nothing that actually is going to change that mind, stop that, or make me ever go back to that thought process. So I've done it with everything I've ever done in life.
You've always been that way.
I've always been that way.
As a child.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. I had like, you know, a dad that was pretty physical, at times. And ultimately I had to be very sure and confident and a feeling of independent because I wasn't receiving emotional support.
Yeah.
And my mom, as you know, emotionally supportive and empathetic as she is as a human being, generally was distracted from her job as a nurse and caring for others too much.
Got it.
So when I look at things, I don't hold much attachment to them. Like I can disconnect from something because if it's not a fuck yes, it's like a fuck no. So I can just got it.
I'm just
out.
like, wish I could have an ounce of that.
I mean, I guess some people would say it's like, you know, I've in the past have somebody tell me like, oh, you're a narcissist or something, you know, and it's like far from it, dude.
I actually I'm not educated enough to know what all the definitions for all these crazy terms are. Like I know the basic. I just don't like to throw those terms around because
it means
really somebody can just be an asshole and it doesn't mean he's a narcissist.
Totally. Yeah, narcissist means you don't understand empathy or recognize it or have none of it.
Okay, but you feel like you have empathy.
I have tons of it. What I don't have is a bias to it. So it's like I can look on the outside, from the outside, even if it's myself. And like I've had to do that because, you know, it's at a very young age, I went through very traumatic things. You know, my brother having a drug seizure on top of me, getting picked up by an ambulance. My brother dying of a drug overdose in my bedroom when I'm 22 years old. You know, just like there's many things that just kind of transpired through my life in between and before. And ultimately having to discern between those moments of like self-preservation and not blocking myself from feeling something, but recognizing that it's not happening to me.
Yeah.
Right. And acknowledging the fact that like, I don't have to react how we're programmed to react.
Right.
Like, why aren't you crying? What a weird fucking thing to ask me. Like, you don't think I'm processing it? Like, you don't think I'm dealing it within my own way? Like, it is sad. Like, I'm completely distraught. Like, I'm destroyed that my brother's dead. I don't know why I'm not crying. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and people have this expectation of what emotion should be, but I look at it as an opportunity to go inside and do inner work and build myself up for the moment because like the moment otherwise is going to be bigger than you.
So what do you do to like when you go inside, like what are your like kind of steps or how do you cope? I mean, crying, that doesn't mean I cry at everything. I cry at a happy movie, a sad movie, a commercial, my dog that I just got, you know, like I don't think that determines whether you feel strongly or good or bad for something, but like how do you cope? How do you grieve? How do you deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a hard thing to talk out, but I think one of the things that, I mean, breathing certainly helps.
Yeah.
Right? That's the beginning, you know, and then acknowledging the reality and what it means, right? So, for instance, when my brother died, I only saw him once a week, you know, for the last X amount of years.
Right.
At that rate, I would see him 52 times in a year. And over the course of the next 50 years, I would see him, you know, X amount of times, 2,500 times, you know, and it's like, that sucks that I missed out on all of that. But all the moments I had before that were what I need to focus on because I can't change the fact that I'm never going to have this moment with this person again, or I'm never going to be able to do this thing that I love again. Like whatever this thing that gets taken away from you that would make you have to go inside like that and recognize what it is that you're losing versus the idea of what you think you're losing, the fear, like the anxiety of it, like the accelerated reality of what we make up within a moment of like distress. You know, we build it up in our mind and we have to become bigger than it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I breathe it in and it's like you take it and you let it
factual
and you factualize it in your mind and you build yourself from that reality and you say, how do I change my future with this present, meaning the gift, right? Because like when my brother died, it was the greatest gift I'd ever been given. As fucked up as that sounds, right? if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have been the spark of reality that I needed to understand what it means to not only persevere, not only push forward, but to be strong, right? Like the idea that I could overcome even this, right? And everything else that I overcame, an abusive dad, you know, a lack of empathy, a lack of support, you know, whatever it was that, you know, the situation as the baby of 4 with, you know, and all these other things, you know, your parents are fucking tired from being parents.
Yeah. The 4th, right? They're like, we're done. Like, raise yourself.
Totally. Like, what soccer game? Yeah. My 3rd one this week that you guys have fucking missed. Like, what's going, you know? But knowing what you have inside of you and understanding that, you know, I'm not like a church goer, but like, I do believe that anything put before you, you can overcome. You just have to want to, right? And it's very easy to just sit back and think that this is happening to you, or you could think that this is happening for you. So it's when my brother died, it gave me this understanding of what time is and this precious commodity that we don't even see until it's too late, until you look at yourself and you have wrinkles on your face, you have some gray in your beard, and you go, where did the time go? But I'm like, since I was 22, I'm like, where am I putting my time? And it was always about that, right? Because ultimately at that moment, I realized that time was the root to all, like fear, anxiety, everything. Because if time was unlimited, we would have no fear. We would have no anxiety. We could have unlimited money because we have unlimited time. We could have unlimited experiences, like none of these things. But when my brother died at 35 years old and left 3 kids behind, I knew that anything that I ever said I was going to do that I hadn't done, I needed to do. Like I needed to act on whatever it is that I wanted to do. And it was just like, I mean, that very day that he died, I literally drove to a Harley Davidson dealership and I signed up for a tournament to fight because I said that I wanted to be a professional fighter. And I mean, I was 22 years old, way too late in the game. Right? Like I did martial arts in high school and I played soccer but 2 weeks later I fought. I did pretty well. A year later, I came back and won the tournament. And 2 years later, I turned pro as a fighter. And it was just something that I was like, no, like I can do this, you know, like you see like the Mark Wahlberg movie, Invincible. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I'm really bad with movies.
It's about like the Vince Papale story. And it was this like teacher who was like in his late 30s that walked on during like this weird Philadelphia Eagles, like we're going to let fans try out for the team, not thinking anybody's going to make it. And this teacher comes out of nowhere and ends up like being on the team, you know, being on the Eagles for like 3 years as a professional football player, not having played football competitively for like 15 years.
Wow.
You know, and it's just like he saw his moment and he took it. I call it earning the day.
Okay.
Right. It's like, you know, and I ask myself every day, did I earn the day? You know, did I do, you know, and as my day has grown, right? Meaning my job, like all these like my career, my company, my children, my wife, right? Like my day has gotten bigger. You know, it's like there aren't more hours in the day, but it just keeps getting bigger.
Do you find that you have like a hard time kind of doing the more sit still things because you have all these big ideas or places you want to go, or, you know, like
what's a sit still thing?
Or just like being grounded, like with your family. You have a wife and 2 little girls, right?
No, I can unplug pretty quick.
Unplug.
Yeah,
okay.
I can like I can balance it too.
Because you were saying time is everything and like you only have so much of it. So
totally.
Are you ever just like sitting and chilling and like
so I mean nothing? I wake up at 5 a.m. and I get about an hour and a half worth of work done before I get my kids off to school.
Okay.
And I'm like making breakfast with them and just kind of answering emails via like audio.
Yeah.
Reading them and then, you know, kind of clocking through any emails I missed since 3 p.m. the previous day because I'm not checking emails after 3.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's unless it's like right now we're launching into Sprouts. So it's like if there's something really pressing that I have to keep my eye on. But otherwise, I kind of shift into like a creative piece at the end of my day where it's like I do like logic, creativity. Okay, do logic again. All right, finish with creativity because you'll be softer and like more relaxed if you're doing something fun. And my kids love me doing like art on the computer.
Okay.
So when they come home, they'll be like, what you doing? And I'm making a new ad.
Yeah.
And they want to like jump on Canva then and like start doing it themselves and, opening up a new page and creating their own ad. And I like then teach them, and that becomes like the segue into like becoming a parent.
Yeah.
So, it's summertime right now. I'll probably take my kids to a water park that's 45 minutes from our house at least.
Where are you from?
I live in Austin, Texas area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, outside of Austin, out in the hill country.
Yeah.
And so we go to New Braunfels.
Okay.
Schlitterbahn. But we'll go like...
I don't know, Schlitterbahn.
It's like one of the top water parks in the country. It's really cool. They take the Comal River.
I'm from Los Angeles originally.
Okay, cool.
So...
Yeah. So they take a river,
okay,
and then they take river water and they pump it up into all the water rides.
Oh my god!
So you're actually riding in like beautiful, pristine, ever flowing river water.
What is the name of it again?
It's called Schlitterbahn.
Okay.
So New Braunfels was a city outside of the Austin area. It's like 45. It's right between Austin and San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it was founded by German settlers.
Okay.
And I come from an all German family.
Yeah.
And so it's got this strong German roots, and that's where the Schlitterbahn comes from. And like they have like a German, like a lot of German architectural inspirations on the old side. Mm-hmm. And then they have this new side that's really just amazing. But it's like considered like one of the top 3 to 5 water parks in the country. I come from originally Wisconsin.
Okay.
Where there's the Wisconsin Dells is like world famous.
Okay.
So Noah's Ark is the world's largest water park, and it's in Wisconsin. And I grew up going there like all the time.
Man, I thought I was a top dog going to Raging Waters in California.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
you know about that?
No, it's not as big as Noah's Ark. That's why.
Raging Waters was the shit.
I'm sure. All water parks are the shit.
It was so dirty. I'm sure of it. Okay, that's cool. So those are summer plans with your kids.
Yeah, but I'll probably go like 17 times like with them because like I'll just check out at 3:00 and go there for like 3 to 4 hours, and it's things like that I can do. I can being an owner of a company. I mean, it's fucking hard, right? Like you work all the time, but I also get to choose when all the time is.
Yeah.
Right. So I go to all my daughter's dance recitals. I pick them up from practice. I drop them off to practice. I make dinners, half the time. I cook breakfast half the time. So it's like there is not me being absent in the pursuit of the holy bag.
Right.
It's like, no, I am not losing as a father to win as a businessman.
Yeah. Well, because the whole picture is really greatness. It's not just a company that you own. It's you balance.
I want to be great in everything.
Yeah.
Right. And it it's in our name, strong. It stands for striving to reach one's natural greatness, or
striving to reach one's natural greatness.
Yeah. Or our natural greatness, right. As a community. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're all in this together, whether we like it or not. And the more of us that get strong and smart, like the better this whole situation could be.
Yeah.
And like, if we just bond together on that commonality, we could do pretty incredible things as a community.
That's what I say about Adultish Whines is like, we're all in this together. Like, let's just get to know each other a little bit more, like people's stories, like you were just telling, like that was how you got to where you are today. It's good. It's good where it's at.
Looking at me.
It can be a little further away if it's too close to your back it up a little bit. Yeah. We're in a tight space. We have a studio audience too.
Yes,
the camera went out to start. But that was the whole purpose behind Adultish Whines is like, let's just get to know each other a little bit more, like get to know people's strengths, weaknesses. Like it's not so black and white. There's so much gray area, and like if you never told your story about, your brother, or I'm sure other things that have happened in your life that you didn't already say, like who are you? Like, cool, thanks for the good coffee, you know? But like it's more when you know about somebody.
Well, we are our experiences partially, right? I was talking about this yesterday at dinner. There's this writer that I've always really liked. He writes, they're like short books, but he was like a writer that I think he was born like 1870s or like 1890s. His name is Moshe Feldenkrais. And
okay, another German writer.
Yeah, I think Austrian.
Oh,
I think he was maybe Austrian, which who can actually tell the difference between the two? I mean,
not it.
Yeah, not I. So Moshe Feldenkrais, he talked about how we were made up of 3 parts, right? So heredity, the genes that we cannot choose, right? Self-education, what we teach ourselves and the experiences that we create for ourselves. And then the experiences that others create for us, our environment. And ultimately, we are only 33% ourself.
Interesting.
When you think about it, right? You are only 33% of who you could be. Because genes are limiting you to 33%, right? And it's like, cool, you could do CRISPR, some gene therapy, like different things now where you could actually change your genes, right? Like, so if you're going to have a baby, you could make sure that it had certain color eyes even.
Yeah.
Right? You can make sure that it even has certain color hair now. Like you can take a gene, cut it into the gene and get rid of the one gene that is a brown eye recessive or dominant. And then all of a sudden they'll have a green eye from like your grandpa. You know what I mean? It's like, so you can almost change a gene now. So it's like, okay, they're working on that part,
Yeah.
Then it's like, what decisions do you make for yourself? Right. And then it's like, what are the decisions people are making around you? And that's why as you grow up, you obviously, your choices change so much because the experiences and the people around you, and then it reflects into your own education. But then you like maybe someday seek a little solitude, or you find pieces of yourself on a road trip because it was like the first time that you haven't had somebody else's opinion put on you for 1 week in your entire fucking life.
Yeah.
And now you're 36% who you could be. Right? Like you just gain 3% from that pool of other, where it's like, okay, like I am becoming more of who I am because I am limiting other people's opinions or ideas. Right. And that's where like social media can be dangerous. Right. That can be where working in group settings can be dangerous. Like I prefer being on the computer and having a lot of my co-working experiences that way and choosing who I get to be around as with work. Right. Right. I don't want to hear certain conversations and, whatever it is. So, cause it changes my experience, and then I'm like, so it's interesting to like think about how we can, look at it like, oh, all right, with what Moshe says, which is like, oh, the 1/3 parts. But if we could, in fact, like just kind of dilute that third to be more of who we are. And that's like, even ayahuasca and like medicines that people experiment with. That's a fast track to that. I mean, like one of the ways that I did heal myself with like my brother and my dad. I mean, I did mushrooms. Like
Yeah, I've been hearing so much about mushrooms.
Mushrooms and weed were like incredible. Yeah. Right. I mean, 15 years later, I got my mom to do mushrooms and it finally fucking helped her. Like zero progress for 15 years, does mushrooms. And all of a sudden she's like, I've just been feeling a little better these days. I'm like, thank God. Yeah. Mushrooms are amazing.
That's so funny.
I don't condone them, but whatever.
But kind of do off the record. I mean, that's so cool. I'm honestly, I
know a guy.
I was going to say, I'm really enjoying this conversation. I feel like one of my favorite things about this podcast and the guests I have on is the relatability that, I mean, obviously I'm the host, so I talk to everyone, but like some trauma that you've been through, you're talking about how like finding fitness like can help you through things, like be strong. Like I've been fit-ish my whole life, but like my fitness journey started 2 years ago after a traumatic event. I needed to feel, I wanted to be on a schedule, on a routine. I needed to feel in control of my body. What I said would go. Like, I needed that.
Was it like a health scare?
It was I'm okay, by the way, but it was a rape. I was raped. And I needed to feel strong and in charge and fucking, I needed to
confident.
feel good.
Totally.
And I needed to be around people that were in that same mindset, you know, and meet new people and not be scared of that.
Yeah.
And ever since that, I've not stopped my my fitness journey, and I just don't ever think I will. And my gym ended up closing, and what was I going to do? And then I started, now I'm doing this intentional body movement every day. So I'm 20 minutes every day. I'm either stretching or going on a walk, or I'm training for a 5K. I have like body issues, so like that's a lot for me. Like, I have
What do you got in body issues?
I had a hip surgery, I had an ankle surgery. Like, I'm kind of a mess. But so what I'm saying is, like, I really relate to, like,
have you ever done knees over toes training?
Knees over toes. That sounds like
So there's a guy named Ben
nursery
Patrick.
rhyme something.
There's a guy named Ben Patrick, and he makes a very simplified program. It's an app called the Athletic Truth Group.
Okay.
But he makes a very simplified program that's called Zero, and it's a great daily workout that takes like maybe like 35 minutes.
Okay.
It's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's the same workout, and then Tuesday, Thursdays are the same workout,
Yeah.
and it's just like every week is the same basically.
Okay.
But that being said, great for your hips, knees,
And toes.
and toes. And you know, muscle is crucial.
Yeah.
You don't want to do cardio without resistance training.
Right.
So it's really important.
I'm doing solid core as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And whatever it is, it's just like, it's one of those things that you just want to make sure that you're like a 70-30, 60-40, where it's like resistance training.
Right.
Because that's where we build bone density and, you know, create ligament strength, connection, tendon connectivity, like health, like all these different little nuances that happen with impact.
Okay.
And the way our body builds from the stress of impact.
Have you heard of rhabdo?
I have. Yeah, rhabdo sucks.
Rhabdo.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah, my wife had it 2 years ago.
Okay. Why don't more people know of rhabdo? Why is it such a secret? Why don't trainers know about it?
Well, they call it CrossFit disease, which is really unfair. But
really unfair, because I was not doing CrossFit. I worked out once.
Yeah. So rhabdo is interesting. When I was on a TV show about 7 years ago on NBC, 6 years ago, the whole cast got rhabdomyolysis except for me. I was doing the exact same workout. So when they looked at my blood levels, I think it's called CPK.
Yeah.
My CPK levels were at like 125 normally, 200 normally, which was like what I just came in at.
Okay.
And they gave us blood tests like all the time, and mine were like always at the same exact level, which was like 30% higher than almost anybody else's. But when everybody did that workout and got rhabdo, mine didn't move, and everybody else was at 1,000 to like 1,500, 1,800. Like, we had people getting, like, they were on IVs, medicated. They had to shut down the entire production of the show for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we somehow actually started competing again 3 weeks later. And
so dangerous.
So dangerous. Like, I mean, people could have died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking I mean, I trust me, like, it wasn't NBC, it was the producers. It's very important to understand that.
I know a little bit. So I used to work in the costume department for TV and movies.
Okay,
so
cool.
I've definitely talked a lot about it on the podcast about.
Yeah. I just don't want NBC
No.
that I'm saying it was them, but it was certainly the producers.
Yeah.
That
push.
They even offered me drugs because I had a fractured tibia. They offered me, to get a script to take care of that pain.
Wow.
And I was just like, I'm not going to numb my leg and turn this into a possible compound fracture and walk with a limp for the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
Just to try to win a TV show. I mean, it was a lot of money, and I probably would have won it. I would have won it, period.
Yeah.
But like, it was not worth $500,000.
Wow.
So it was like, no.
That's crazy.
Nah, bruh.
So that's crazy that every single person got it, but you obviously just because
So
you're
what the doctor said is like, he's like, I think, he's like, out of all the other athletes here, you're the only fighter. He's like, I believe that the intensity and the level that you trained at for as long as you did, you just have higher levels, slightly higher levels, naturally making you resilient to a spike in CPK.
Wow.
So where other people are sitting at a base level, like what would be normal or optimal, right, would be very sensitive to it.
Yeah.
Was like what he concluded. And this was a very intelligent doctor, Huizinga, who was like he's been like everybody's fucking doctor in Hollywood. You know, it's pretty incredible when you see his patient list. You know, he was like the doctor for the Oakland Raiders for years. And,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. Or not Oakland, but yeah, LA. Were Raiders ever in LA?
Big football guy. No. For sure they were in LA because I've.
Yeah. When you were in the Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah. There's a guy off camera. I'm not talking to myself.
That is crazy. Because I worked out once. Well, because I was like yoga and running.
What'd you get in your biceps?
My legs. My legs. I was at a bachelorette party, worked out. I was out of town, worked out with a girlfriend, with her trainer.
Drank alcohol, went dancing.
Yep. The next day, worked out with her trainer, and I was like, by the way, I don't really work out like the resistance training. This is years ago. And I was like, I'm just going to be in the back of the class. And he was like, took that as a challenge, which I don't back down from a challenge.
Of course not.
So I was like, okay,
like,
I can do all of that. And I did. And then I couldn't walk. Literally. So, I mean, you can get it from one time, but.
Of course. Yeah. They're like, yeah.
And then I got it again 6 months later.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't had it since. But apparently once you get it, you can.
It's much easier to get.
Yeah.
Totally.
But now I'm really careful about like repetition. I don't know, just from the research I've done. I ain't a doctor, I ain't a trainer, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think like one of the things that, you just got to be cautious about is probably your hydration and your maybe getting, biannual, like biannually, like twice. Well,
like
no, like
blood checks,
blood checks like twice a year.
Yeah.
Just to kind of make sure that you don't have like irregularities that would like lead to, maybe like some liver dysfunction or something that would lead to like your
that was scary. They were bringing in the liver docs, the kidney docs.
Oh yeah, for
they
sure.
Were like,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
What's going on? Are you on steroids? And I was like, no.
Yeah, everybody thought it was super wild that they're like, why the fuck isn't Adam all fucked up? They're all like mad at me because like the whole cast already hated me for beating all of them in the competitions.
Okay.
They were just kind of because like I was the most.
Was it normal people on this show? Sorry.
So it was 10 top trainers.
Okay.
And then 10 women like yourself.
Okay.
And they were like, I want to be in the best shape of my fucking life.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're the best trainers. And it's like, we compete side by side while transforming you and compete weekly to stay on the show.
Okay.
So, that was the premise of the TV show Strong.
Okay.
And it was on Netflix, and it actually like on Netflix, it was a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
It was on there for years, and NBC just bought it back and put it on Peacock. They're like their streaming platform. So it's still out there. Yeah, I mean, we thought we were going to have seasons. I mean, even when we launched, we had strong viewership. It was like 5.5 million viewers. It was the best viewership that they ever had in that category in 12, 15 years, something like that, since like Grey's Anatomy. Oh. So it was like, because Grey's Anatomy crushed everybody on Thursdays or whatever for so long.
Yeah.
But Kobe Bryant retired the night that our show aired. So tons of people didn't go over to NBC.
Oh.
And left The Voice to go to Kobe Bryant. So they were planning on launching the show off The Voice. Off The Voice's popularity, because The Voice was the most popular show on
That's crazy how
TV.
something can really shift.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
the future of or predictions of something. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And I mean, I was like the wild person out. Like everybody else had these like incredible careers at the time. And I was a gym owner in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who trained Pauly Shore. Like, I love Pauly, but like, it was
no shade to Pauly.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like this, like, oh, I trained Tom Cruise, like this one person, or I'm the head strength coach for Oklahoma, or, I mean, like all these crazy accolades that these people had.
Yeah. What was it about you? How did you get approached?
So I'm just trying to think the years wise. It was 7 years earlier. I was asked to interview for The Biggest Loser.
Okay.
And I was living in California at the time.
Okay.
And it was my first stint out to California, trying it out. It was right when I retired from fighting. I looked unlike most people at the time. 15 years ago, being ripped, jacked, and tattooed was like something you saw in Prisoners.
Right.
Right. And then there's this well-spoken, articulated, educated trainer working at this gym in Hollywood. Mm. And they were like, you should try out for The Biggest Loser. And I made it pretty far. And they're like, we're going to go a different way. And they were really, just like diversified the cast. They like brought it was just like the whole cast like really changed up. And they were like, this wasn't, you're right, but like there was going to be something coming. Every year for the next 5 years, they had me audition for Biggest Loser. And on the 5th year, the 6th year, they call me up and I'm like, to be honest with you, I'm like, I do not have time.
I'm over it.
To go through this whole fucking process, filming video, like you see me. It's the same casting directors. I saw the name on the call sheet. They know who I am. There's a reason why you guys keep asking me, like, shit or get off the pot. And they're like, no, we're ready to shit. It's like, and I was like, I saw the conversation was so funny because I was just being so direct, and I laughed my ass off when she said we're ready to shit. She's like, but it's not Biggest Loser. And I'm like, what? And I was mad because Biggest Loser is so big.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, it's a show called Strong. And I was like, okay. And they're like, we think that, physically you're just going to do incredible on the show. They're like, you're a great trainer, but the idea that you're also a great athlete is really enticing to us as well. Like, we want you. So this whole thing. And I'm like, cool. So I'm like, I still don't want to do all that shit. And they're like, tell you what, film a quick 30-second. This is my name. Blah, blah, blah. We'll push it through. And I just kind of did the league minimum to get to it.
Yeah.
And then, weeks later, I flew out to California and, sat in a hotel and did psych evaluations and gene testing and, all this crazy stuff to like see like what kind of people. We had multiple psychological IQ tests. Yeah. All this stuff, multiple interviews, meeting with a psychiatrist, like all these things. And then got on the show.
Okay.
It was a wild trip.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
That's not old.
Well, how old are you?
34.
You can't say shit. You're not 42.
42 is really like.
It's not old.
I will
tell you that age doesn't define you. Age isn't a definer. It's a magnifier. Yeah. So, I've done high impact sports and stuff like that my whole life. So I feel a little different at 42 than like what the common person would feel like at 42. Right. Even though I take very good care of myself.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There's a reason why you're like.
Well, you used to beat the shit out of people and get. Did you ever get?
I mean, I didn't really get my ass kicked much.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We were talking about this
should
yesterday.
I say that?
I've never out of 13 fights, I've never been put down. Like I've never gotten hit to a point where I actually
you had to tap out.
Not just tap out, but like I didn't go down. Like I didn't get knocked out. I didn't get knocked down. I didn't back up. Like I didn't even stop. You know, I may have been choked out in a fight or two and lost. Okay, but every one of those dudes looks like they may have won, but they got their ass kicked, right? Like they were the guys with the broken noses, the cracked sternum, and I was the guy drinking at the bar, hanging out afterwards, mad that I gave my back up for the second time.
How do you even get into MMA? Like, I know you said the day your brother died, you went and was like, I'm going to fight because that's what I wanted to do. But like, who does MMA?
Yeah. First of all, when you said that, it's like, how does somebody get into MMA? There's this new movie coming out, and it looks so funny. It's with that Skarsgård guy or whatever his last name is, something Fury. But he's like a deaf mute. Okay. And in the beginning, it's like, to become like how did I get here? Step one. He's like, develop an internal monologue. He's like, he went deaf. He's like, the last thing I heard was this video game's voice. He's like, step two.
Did I remind you of that?
Yeah, you just reminded me of that. It's like, how do you do this? Step one. Step one, your brother dies of a horrific death. Step two, you train martial arts with the black guy in a bloody room called the Shadow
right,
Boxing.
just call me insensitive, why don't you?
No. It's actually funny. Step one, have a very strong reason. Step two, have a sense of adventure and confidence.
Yeah.
And step three, be very pissed off. Right. And find yourself in the right place at the right time. That's how you become a cage fighter. So I did that tournament, and right after my brother died, it was the Midwest Rumble. We're looking for the toughest man in the Midwest. It's like and it's like me versus guys that were 250 pounds.
Yeah.
Guys that outweighed me by 45 pounds. And I was just knocking out. Right. And I found out one of them was an MMA fighter that I just fucked up. I was like, not that good, Yeah. And I mean, he was good apparently, but like I was quicker and maybe meaner, one of the two, or angrier, one of the two, I don't know. So this old dude comes up to me, not old, but 50s. I'm, in my 20s. So
careful, you're almost 50s.
It's old to me. At the time I'm 22 years old, 23, he's 50.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew who he was, Horace the real deal Kraft. He was a, county sheriff and who got arrested for being a black man shooting a white dude in a white neighborhood. He was a black officer. Okay. But he was defending his life but lost his job. And so he was a professional fighter though. And I mean, in the 80s, he was, like good, like world level, like was fighting like world champions, like all over the place.
Wow.
And he came up to me, the first night of the first tournament, the year that my brother died. And he asked me like, if I had anybody to wrap my hands, and I didn't, because I wasn't there with a coach. I was the only one that just showed up on myself. So everybody else had a team. Mm-hmm. I just like showed up. Or like
a team in a robe or something.
Yeah, like people had like full robes and shorts. Yeah. And I just showed up in like board shorts and a mouth guard.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like a pair of flip-flops, board shorts, mouth guard, and a t-shirt. And I was like, oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. And so he asked if he could wrap my hands. And then I won the first fight of the night, knocked a kid out in like 15 seconds. And then next night, Horace comes up to me and he's like, you did good, kid. You didn't, wrap your hands. And I was like, yeah, And then after the tournament, I lost that. And he's like, you're a really great fighter. He's like, you should keep going. And I kind of disappeared for a minute. And about like 6 months later, I hit him up and I was like, hey, I want to train. So I got ready for that Midwest Rumble again. And I trained with him and I won the Rumble. Mm-hmm. And then I asked Horace, at the time he was going through some other stuff. His wife was dying from cancer. And there was like a connection that we had, and he would have me like come to his house and like train, and his little boys would be like playing and like, and they'd be like, Mr. Adam, and I'd be fighting and they're like, my daddy says you're going to be real good, like all that kind of stuff. And then,
this is giving Creed vibes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, it's very much a Creed story in that sense. Like I at the time didn't plan on fighting MMA. I was planning on doing Muay Thai, and I was thinking like go fight in Thailand and like do stuff like that. And I ran into this guy at Summerfest and he was like, man, have you ever thought about doing jujitsu? He's like, I think you'd be really good at it. And he's like, it's getting a little popular. And there's like this guy named Tom who's looking for like some students, and he'll just charge you $100 a month and you can just go there whenever you want. And I was like, really? That sounds amazing. So I started doing that, and I just went in there and I was like, everybody's like choking dummy for like a couple of weeks. And I mean, like, I put up a fight because I was so much stronger and faster than most of these guys, but like they were all very skilled.
Yeah.
And they were just fucking me up. And then one day I came in and it kind of just clicked, and all of a sudden I started winning. And then like 3 months later, they were like, you should do this tournament. And I took silver out of 9 states in my weight class at 185, which is technically considered the hardest weight class like out there, because they're like the strongest, fastest guys out there. And 185 is such a dangerous weight. You're not too big to be slow, and you're heavy enough to be dangerous. It's like, so it's kind of an interesting combination of weight and speed and strength that I think like historically is always considered like the most dangerous fight class out there.
Okay.
And so I competed at 185 and took silver, and this guy named Jason Allen came up to me and was like, I heard, at practice, like weeks later of jiu-jitsu, like, oh, I heard you're good. Want to roll with me? And this guy was like this little meat muscle head. And I messed him up, and it felt so good because like he was this MMA fighter. And I was like, oh, dude, like my jiu-jitsu is better than this dude's. And he's like, I'm putting on a fight in whatever weeks, like 10 weeks. Would you want to fight? And I was like, sure. He's like, what weight class? I'm like, 185. He's like, are you sure about that? You don't want to fight at 170? He was trying to get me to go down to.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
do that.
I was like 195, 200 pounds, like when he was talking to me. So I have to lose like 10, 15 pounds just to like do that period.
Right.
Which really isn't that hard, but it was like, for temporarily, it isn't that hard, right? Like it's easy to lose that weight very quickly, but it's hard to hold it off in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. And 8 weeks later, weigh-ins. This happened to me twice in my fight career at weigh-ins. The guy weighs in, sees me weigh in, take my shirt off, and fucking calls the promoter, leaves, calls the promoter and cancels.
No.
Yeah. Because I just looked different than other MMA fighters at the time. Like I was a gym head who got into back into martial arts.
And forgive me, but I'm just like not so MMA knowledgeable. But like
there were very few guys that looked like bodybuilders.
Okay.
Fighting in 2012.
Okay.
They were all like thin, skinny fat because they believed that muscle slowed them down. Or they like it was very like there was like Sean Shirk. There were very few guys like. Every once in a while, they'll talk about like how BJ Penn actually got like in shape one time. They kind of just walked around more at like weight, and they would cut a little weight to like make weight. But they weren't like
muscle.
I was training to be big and then cut weight to be small enough
to fit
fight somebody
in your weight class.
Right.
Which
was like a new introduction to the sport. Like it was
interesting.
It was a new adaptation into the sport that, I mean, honestly got so out of hand that the UFC had to make laws about weight discrepancies the next day and your hydration rate, making sure that you're not causing fucking brain damage from dehydrating yourself.
Oh my God.
Because your brain takes 72 hours to rehydrate. Your body takes, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So by the next day, you're going to be rehydrated physically. You'll feel good. But if you get hit in the head too hard, you're dehydrated in your brain still, and cause brain damage very easily. That's why people have died in the ring from getting hit in the head, right? Their brain literally rattles.
That is so scary.
The fluid isn't in there to like, support it. And then I moved up to Minnesota and got recognized by just like one of the top teams in the country, showing up for some practices, and they asked me to fight pro for them. And all of a sudden I had the top 5 super coach in the world being my corner. And it was like, whoa, like
that's pretty cool.
3 years ago, you said you were going to do this, like, here
you
are.
Like you said, anything that you want to do or that you think you might want to try, you're going to do it.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to do it, not try, but do it, well then like don't bitch about not having it, or like don't talk about like what it could have been like. You know,
Right.
like, I can't hang out with people like that.
Right.
I have a friend that talks about what it could have been like if he would have, you know, like if his coach wouldn't have been so hard on him, that he could have went to pro this or did that,
Right.
you know, and I'm just like, dude, like that was 28 years ago. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
like just like stop living in that. Like you just got to like be you and do you, because like you've been saying this for 25 years. You know, I love you.
Yeah, let it go.
But you've been saying this for 25 years. You know, it's like we're not.
It is what it was what it was.
And now it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And you could choose to be mad at it, or you could choose to be happy with it. Like you still got a 4-year education and a fucking degree for free. So like, I'm like, there's a pretty good, you know, thing on the end of that rainbow.
Yeah. How long have you had strong coffee?
I drank a glass. I drank a glass this morning.
No, how many years?
5 years.
5 years.
Well, like, you know, I said 6 earlier this year, and then I like did the math, and I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I was like, my daughter wasn't 4, you know, so I was trying to do the math, and it's been about 5.5 years.
Okay.
So I started in 2019.
What made you go from, obviously, so you've had fitness, reality.
When reality was just a speed bump. Like
reality
I was also,
TV. Yeah.
I modeled for Versace 2 times, which was really cool. I got to model with Gigi Hadid and do all this cool stuff. Got to model with my daughter for Versace.
Aww.
That was amazing.
Cute,
we were
yeah.
like the face of like the kids campaign.
Oh my God, adorable.
London, which was pretty epic.
Yeah.
So
You've just always been passionate about coffee, or what?
you know,
Like, why are we here? How did we get here?
Yeah, I mean, I drove here, right? So
You drove?
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Or one of you guys drove?
I drove.
You drove. You guys
Yeah.
were sitting.
I don't know what these fucking
Passenger
guys were doing.
backseat?
No, this guy's sending emails and editing videos. This guy's recording videos and figuring out his new camera.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out GPS and sing out of tune. So
What were you listening to?
I love everything, but like, I mean, I'm rapping like new age country, you
Okay.
know, like Ryan Bingham or like some like
Yeah.
guys with, you know, a little soul to like what they're singing. Like I just
So Morgan Wallen or no?
I like Morgan Wallen to a degree. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not necessarily into like hearing about like trucks going out and drinking and like kind of like that conversation. I want to more hear about like their inner thoughts. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about Ryan Bingham. He like,
Okay.
he like sings about like weird thoughts and
Okay.
trips and experiences that he's had. And like the
Yeah.
idea of like what it would feel like dying and like being like under the stars.
You like
and,
hearing someone's like in their brain, what they're thinking
yeah,
about, what
yeah,
they're going
yeah.
through.
Like an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Cool.
just like a technically like, yeah, I can sing country and play a guitar. And
Yeah.
I think that's like what happens a lot in the music world.
Yeah.
You know, so I that's not what there's like a lot of artists that I love.
So then you love Cardi B.
Yeah. No. No, I mean, I think a lot of raps, unfortunately, like
I know. It's
the
not
understanding of what the
same.
difference between rap and hip hop has been very skewed. And I love hip hop, you know, so it's like I'll still listen to Wu-Tang and
Yeah.
you know, A$AP Rock or, you know, just like different, you know, I still listen to Atmosphere you
Okay.
know, on a regular basis,
Yeah.
which is like pretty old hip hop to a degree. So I think like all music's great. What was the question you asked me? That we got here?
Strong coffee.
Strong coffee. I've been at it since 3:30 in the morning, since 5 this morning, but we were
Did you get here today or yesterday?
yesterday, but we left yesterday at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
You know, because we were serving coffee early. Or
Yeah.
like we were all up at 3:30 in the morning. We left by 5. We had the van packed. We're like drove through traffic, got here, and just have been nonstop
Yeah.
since we got here. So it's yeah, I forgot that we were talking about coffee.
That's all right.
So-
Owning your own business is insane, but so rewarding. But yeah, you've just been on
It is. So am I passionate about coffee? Coffee and I had a really interesting introduction. I was the kid that was like the first and only at first kid on Ritalin, like in my school,
Okay.
right? I was the kid given Ritalin and Adderall throughout my second grade on. I mean, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
So drugging 7-year-olds because they don't stand still or something. So by like 12, 11, I started getting into health and fitness at kind of a young age. I had a cousin who was a bodybuilder, and I always thought he was the coolest. And at 12 years old, my parents adopted a paraplegic who had a lot of medical requirements. And I went from getting some attention, to getting no attention, and my house having random people in it all the time, nurses. I was fortunate enough, though, because 2 of those nurses were into like fitness, male nurses. And one of them, and both of them were entrepreneurs. One of them was like financial, super illiterate, and like understood stocks and the housing market. And the other one started like a carpet cleaning business. So I was like introduced to that kind of stuff early on.
At 12?
At 12, yeah.
Wow.
Just kind of seeing men living like that. Like the one nurse was a firefighter and a nurse, and he was a millionaire, and he was in his 40s and former Marine, and just was super financial, intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And then literate. And then the other guy had this carpet cleaning business and was really in shape. And they like knew that I was working out, and they kind of randomly both brought me piles of like Iron Man magazines and like Flex magazines that were like from the firehouse, or like that he had laying around at his house. And he was like, "Oh, you really like these, So it was super cool to have that introduction to working out. And in those magazines, there was really great information on nutrition. And I saw this article early on about coffee with helping with focus and combining it with like L-theanine, an amino acid, can help like channel and like do these certain things with, and reduce any types of anxiety that you can get from coffee. So like, on a paper route at a young age, like somewhere between 12 and 14, one morning I told my dad when we made our morning stop for coffee on my paper route that I had from like 12 to 15 years old.
Oh my God, cute.
So it must have been 14, because it was when I was 14 that the newspaper shifted from after school to before school. So I was delivering papers at 5 a.m.
Okay.
Before school every day. And I'd give my dad $10 a day for driving me around for a half hour. And I would have to buy him a coffee at the gas station and a donut, and I'd get a donut. And I used to always get a glass of milk. But then when I was 14, I got a coffee instead, because he was dropping me off at weight camp, and I was just going to go lift weights before school started for an hour. And that was like when I started drinking coffee. And then I started putting things in my coffee. And then coffee became like the shuttle for like all my morning nutrients, where I was like pouring different fats in it, different proteins, like putting powders in it. And it's like coffee and like sweetener could almost hide anything. It felt like, I was like, this is amazing. I can just put all this shit in here and fucking drink it.
Yeah.
And that's, that was a crude method of strong coffee, which, just slowly happened out of my own necessity. And then as I refined it over time, not wanting to put all these supplements, but more like focusing on the things that really mattered: collagen, protein, MCTs, adaptogens to like reduce the stress, the amino acids like L-theanine to make sure that the cognitive improvement that I'm looking for isn't sidecarded with jitters and anxiety.
Right.
And then the crash.
Yeah.
Right. Or caffeine can feel very like adolescent in your body at times, where it feels very like you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
And you need those chaperones to keep the caffeine in check. And that's what those other things are that are in strong coffee now, that can just be made, where then I had to brew it and blend it and make this whole mess and have 7 containers on my counter, versus the idea of just taking 1 bag, 1 scoop, 1 cup of water and mixing it up and being out your door in 30 seconds with, 15 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat, all these things. So coffee for me was like the entry to this conversation about like, what are you doing with your morning, which sets the tone for the rest of your day. Like if you start strong, you finish strong, like psychologically proven, right? Like plan to fail, fail to plan to fail.
Yeah.
It's like starting strong is the first step to being successful. Waking up, having some nutrition, drinking a glass of water,
making your bed,
taking a moment for yourself,
Yeah.
whether it's making the studies on people that make their beds, and the success. Now, I'm not a bed maker, but I clean my kitchen first thing in the morning and like do emails or something, right? And
Yeah.
I'm very like meticulous in that manner.
Okay.
So it's like, but same coffee every morning. Then it's like this, and it's like that. You can't have too much of a routine when you're a parent and a businessman, entrepreneur that's managing like a small company that's growing quickly, that shifts very fast.
Yeah, you got to be on your toes.
Because like routine then will only create frustration in some manner. So it's like you have to have some routine, but also understand that routine creates growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're on routine, you have growth, right?
Yeah.
But growth constitutes change. It's like once you grow, you have to change. So it's like you wanted your business to be more successful. Well, now it is. Now you don't have 3 hours to fucking do whatever you want all day.
Yeah.
So now your workout, they used to just slap dick around for 3 hours. You need to like tighten that shit up and you need to get it done in an hour and a half.
Yeah. Time.
With your drive. And it's like where I live, not possible. It's an hour just there and back for the gym. So I live 30 minutes from anywhere. So I built out a garage gym. And it's like now that's like summer, it's 102 degrees by 9 a.m., so I'm working out, at 7 a.m. Luckily I don't have to get my kids to school. So I have that time now in the morning in the summer to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I had a routine. It created growth. Now I have to change again.
Yeah.
And that is just
keeps it fresh.
Hopefully that's a consistent cycle, right? Because like if that's not your cycle of your life, like you're probably not getting to where you thought you were going to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what do you think?
So no, I'm interested. So is it a powder form?
It is a powder form. I wish we'd have brought some.
Can't believe you didn't.
We got some.
I'm just kidding.
We got some in the car.
I'm just kidding.
We'll bring you back. So it's a powder. So you take a scoop of it and you put it in your mug and you pour 8 to 10 ounces of water over it. You can mix it in cold. You can shake it. You can make it into ice cream with a Ninja Creamy. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with it.
Okay.
It's organic. It's organic. A little hiccup from the water.
You're not the first to sit in that chair and have a hiccup.
It's organic coffee. It's grass-fed collagen. It's, no artificial anything, gluten-free, keto, right? Paleo, it's like all these buttons that you can press.
All in one,
right? And
love that.
I mean, honestly, it's so good. Like, I'm not going to bullshit. Like, it's so good that we got into Whole Foods globally when we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so good that when billionaires try it, they buy it and they could buy anything they want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they have $60,000 espresso machines with somebody making it. And yet we have people that gave all that up and just drink strong coffee every morning. We have people like Emma Hernan from Selling Sunset, who literally got Christian and all these other girls drinking strong coffee. And it's like their coffee.
Yeah.
It's like those girls they're around like the swankiest, most astute people in Beverly Hills and Hollywood, selling like the biggest, baddest fucking houses, looking at like what are the best health ingredients? What do you take? Because they have all this disposable income and they're buying strong coffee, right? They're not going out and buying collagen and all this other stuff and putting it in their coffee because they also understand, although their health is paradigm, so is their time.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, if you could have both, if you could have your cake and eat it too, that's strong coffee. It's like, it's giving you back time and energy. Right. And it's like, because you don't have to stand in line for a great cup of coffee and you don't have to spend $7. It's $2.30 a serving. It's like, if you subscribe, you get a free frother, a mug. It's like we set you up for success where it's like the right size mug for the amount of water that it's supposed to take. So you don't mess up measurements, having the frother to like mix it up and get it nice and creamy, even frothy. I mean, you can get like a big head of foam on it if you want,
a little cappuccino style.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. The vanilla, I really, every time I close my eyes when I would sample it, my goal was for it to remind me of the vanilla cappuccino at the gas station I had when I was 14 with my dad, something like that. So, it's me and him may have had a rough relationship, but like he definitely did things for me and he changed my life. So when I think about the things that I do, it's to like reflect like little pieces of my life that I can like be very proud of.
Yeah.
If not for the success of the company, just proud that I put that thought and energy into something and followed through with what I said I was going to do.
Right. And kind of like you said at the top of the show, like you can't change you can't change what happened. You can't change some of the things that happened with your dad.
Yeah.
That were bad, but you have these great memories as well. And so those are important to focus on and grow. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
how did you become you're the new, is it the new coffee for CrossFit? Like officially?
We're the official coffee of the CrossFit Games, not of CrossFit.
CrossFit Games.
They would slap our hands if we said that.
Okay.
They, honestly, a lot of hard work, a lot of showing up. Yeah. Showing up is 99% of it. So a lot of showing up and then making a point. Came down to showing up, showing out, and then not showing up. And that was our point. And it's like, this is what CrossFit could feel like without us. The whole sport. Like at the biggest CrossFit events throughout all of 2023, we didn't show up at. It was the first time that we hadn't done that since the start of the company. And
your absence was felt.
We had cultivated a community, and our absence was not just felt, but demanded.
Interesting. Love that.
And that was always the fucking plan. Because if they weren't going to give it to me my way, I wasn't going to give it to them anyway. And it wasn't like I was asking for much. All I wanted to be was the official coffee and make sure that we could serve our product just like other people could. So like when you have an energy drink or a protein bar, you could just hand it out, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a cup of coffee that you're pouring and serving, you can only give them 3 ounces. And I'm like, well, one, we don't sample our product. We don't give it away for free. I don't think you understand the way this game is played. We are not billionaires. We are not millionaires. This is a small family company that is growing up from the roots. You're looking at 2/3 of the team in this room. Mm-hmm. It's like, if we're here, who the fuck's running the company right now? No, seriously, guys, who's running the company right now? So anyways, so we're not in the same financial situation. So we're not going to pay you $100,000 to do that. We just want to be able to sell our cup of coffee to showcase the value and let somebody feel the experience of a full cup of strong coffee, like how they're going to feel different.
Right.
Because we're doing something that nobody else is doing, right? Like everybody's got all these like energy drinks and shit, but we're talking about coffee from the future, like in this present moment when everybody else is thinking ready to drinks, things that aren't good for sustainability or environment. I'm like Jetsons over here. Like I'm 50 years in the future trying to bring you something that really could reduce waste, save time, save money, and give you a lot of your health back. Mm-hmm. And when something's right in front of somebody, they don't always appreciate it. So when you take it away, they recognize that. Mm-hmm. And the minute that happened, the universe just said, you recognize your own value. Now I'm going to give you what you asked for.
Love it.
And it was just like, boom, CrossFit Games. And, just stuck to my guns. Like no matter how many conversations, no matter how many
good
times,
lesson. Good.
No matter how many times it felt like they were just not going to call or show up or pull out, or try to get us, like in some way. And I'm not saying they're devious or anything, but like they got to make their money, right? Like
business is business.
Yeah, business is business. No matter what, I knew that if it wasn't coming my way, it wasn't fucking going. Like it wasn't going to happen. There was no taking a knee on this situation. And it's recognizing your value, recognizing your time, recognizing your energy, and making other people recognize it, right? At some point, it's like, it's okay to be the mouse in the corner just drilling away. But like eventually you got to like stand up and just be like, I've been sitting in this fucking corner for 5 years. Like I want to be right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has just made us go like this in the last couple of months, where it's like we've almost raised, $700,000 in the last 6 weeks of, additional capital to grow. We just got picked up by Sprouts to launch nationwide. We are the official coffee of the CrossFit Games. We're launching a collab flavor with Mike the Rapper, or just Mike or Mike Stud, depending on how you know him. Mm-hmm. But, and things that we can't even speak of yet that are all happening. And it's just, strong coffee. It's going to be that. Wow, they really had an overnight success, huh?
Oh God. It takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Totally. Everybody that thinks Athletic Greens is a new company that they just heard of.
Right.
You idiot. They're 12 years old. Like,
no, that's super cool. That I really appreciate you sharing the history of that, because I mean, for me, it's something to think about, and
it's slow,
but also listeners.
slow, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it all is. And you got to be fucking ready. Right. You got to be fucking ready. You got to be willing. When everybody else is looking right, you should be looking left.
Yeah.
Because left is where ready is. Right is where complacency is. Right. So it's like when COVID hit, what I saw was this crazy cultural opportunity. And I love culture. Like, I love hip hop. Like, I love street art. Like, I love shoes. I think that I got an eye. Like, I'm like, yo, I got an eye. Like, I could do a clothing design. I could do a clothing brand, and people would be like, yo, that shit's sick. Right. So I had this idea that I could take like a Banksy style stencil drawing of a N95 mask and put it on a mug. And people were holding the mug like this, and the mask looked like it was on their face.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, it said, "Real heroes wear masks." And it was a fundraising way to get masks for my sister's hospital in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because they didn't have funding to get the PPE gear that they needed. So I did these photo mock-ups of this mug on a pre-order. And so I get this all set up on a pre-order, and we turn on the ads, having no idea how this is going to do, right? It's COVID. Companies are like all freaking out. Like, they're just going to fail. Like, our company like doubles overnight. Wake up in the morning and there's like $30,000 in sales from these coffee mugs. It's like we struck a chord, and all of a sudden we like ran those ads for a couple of days, and then we were like, holy fuck, how are we going to fill these orders?
Yeah, stop the ads.
We literally stopped the ads, but like our company could have just grown to infinity at that moment.
Wow.
And we just, we didn't have the money at the time, but like I made this, the minute that COVID happened, I remember the voice in my head, a guy telling me never waste a crisis. And I was like, that like voice popped in my head, and I put out that mug thing without even thinking, and all of a sudden created this problem, and we weren't fully ready for that. And now we have, and then we had another moment like that with Joe Rogan, when we were mentioned on Joe Rogan, and we weren't ready for that, and we sold out of product. And
well, I have a similar reach to Joe Rogan,
excellent.
So prepare yourself.
I heard Spotify. We weren't on Joe Rogan. We were mentioned on Joe Rogan. I'm certainly not cool enough to be next to him. Kidding.
I was going to say, I've only known you for like an hour, but it doesn't sound like something you think about yourself.
No. So we were mentioned on Rogan, and we sold out, and then we tried to remake the product really fast. We couldn't even get packaging, so we literally made it in like clear bags with like stickers on it, and like rushed the formula and kind of fucked it up a little bit. Like there was like 10% too much monk fruit put in, and like threw off the whole like sweetness profile. And like, we don't make our own product. It's co-pack, but like they felt rushed, and like somebody made a mistake and not ready.
Yeah.
It's like we did all the work to get to the moment, but we weren't ready.
Right.
And now we have all these incredible moments coming up, and it's like, we're ready.
How exciting.
Like, for the first time, we're fucking ready. We have the capital to back it up. We have the product to back it up, and we have the content that's about to, hit, and these certain channels that are just going to, make our company grow like 6 times within the next like couple of months. And it's just like a, slow. I mean, banging your head against the wall thinking that you're going to be looking for a new job, and it's like you're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company that's looking for a new job. Like, that doesn't make sense to any of my blue brain fucking color mind, but like, how does a company make millions of dollars and still lose money? It's like, there's called a break-even point. There's cost of goods, employees, like all these things like add up. So it's like, you have to make a certain amount of money before you make money.
Yeah.
And it's like, God dang it. Like, I thought
Will I ever get there?
Will I ever get there?
You're about to be there.
And that's the guy sitting in the coal mine, sitting this far away from the diamond, and he doesn't want to take another swing at the rock, you know? And it's just like, you're either the guy that takes another swing at the fucking rock, or you're the guy that throws the pickaxe over his shoulder and walks away. Right?
Damn.
And it's like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I've never left something because I gave up. I left something because I conquered it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I set out to be the best trainer in the world. There weren't many things I could have done that could have proven otherwise, you know, like covers of magazines about it, TV shows or, you know, articles. I set out to be a fashion model. Like, what a weird idea as a 5'11" tattooed fighter, you know, but it was like, hey, I always wanted to be a model when I was a kid. I used to go to those like little model things that you'd hear on the radio, and I'd like ride a bike to the hotel.
Oh my God. Or like mall.
Yeah, the mall.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, they're like, you're amazing, kid. We just got to get your parents to sign and pay us $200 to like do the auditions. And my mom and dad would be like, it's a scam. I'm like, well, you don't think I'm good looking? What the fuck? You know, to then like become a Versace model. And then it's like, yo, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, I got to do that. And it's just this kind of set your goals, you know, your mark, be specific. You know, I've met a lot of players that have made it to the NBA, but they didn't last or they didn't have illustrious careers. And I'm like, I think about like what they manifested, and I wonder if they manifested to make it to the NBA.
Right. That was it. Made it.
I made it to the NBA. You know?
Right.
Like, did you see yourself doing a season where 80 games, you got a triple double, you know, or even if that's possible, it doesn't matter, but you saw it, or you got MVP, you got player of the year, you went to the playoffs 10 times and got like, you know, over your career, you know, like you won one ring, you know, like there's like these specific goals. If you don't set out super specifically, it's like you have to be careful what you wish for.
Right.
It's like, well,
Be
even if your wish is like grand, it might not be grand enough.
Right.
For like, you might not be big enough for that like position because like you didn't think big enough. They go,
yeah.
But like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they fucking knew they were going to win championships and be the greatest players on the planet. You know, it's not LeBron James, Grant. Fucking guys. I don't know. I don't get what people with LeBron James.
I'm going to go with Kobe.
Yeah. Good job. Good job. At least Kobe didn't need a gainer step and a Euro
yeah,
step
that
and a
gainer step.
Right?
Hate that.
Do you know in basketball how you can't take more than
traveling?
Right. Traveling, you can now take 3 steps. It used to be 2.
Really?
You can take 3
We're giving participation awards out now?
Exactly. And they did that for LeBron though, because he would like power in on the rim and he would take a 3rd step no matter what. And they call it a Euro step. And it's like, and it's because it's popular in Europe, but it's like, you're not playing in Europe, motherfucker. Like just because you were playing Europe ball in the summer for like practice and like, you know, see Euro players doing that doesn't mean it, you know, and then the NBA, usually the NBA prides itself on its own rule set, or like the CFL, like Canadian Football League. Like they all have different rule sets.
Right.
You know,
gotta play by the rules.
Well, for them to like change their rules for
a player
to like be like a Euro league is weird. Because it's like Euro League is like half the quality our league is.
Right.
And that's why they come here. You know, so it's like, duh. It's like, I thought we gave them the Euro step because they weren't as good. Like, I'll give them a 3rd step.
Sorry, Grant.
Yeah. Whatever,
when you play, before we finish up and I ask you for a wine of the week, when you play games with your daughters, are you a rule follower?
Taco Cat Goldfish Pizza. Wait. Taco
Is that a
Cat,
match game?
Goat Cheese Pizza. Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Is this a memory game?
No, it's a playing card game, and it's so much fun. Taco Cat.
That's
Goat
what it's
Cheese
called?
Pizza. Yeah.
Wait, okay.
Yeah. There's these cards, and it's a taco, a cat, goat, cheese, and pizza.
Okay.
And you have to like taco, you know, you have to do these like things when the cards flip and like people mess up. And and then there's like, you have to like say it in like the order of like, it's like an order thing. It's like some weird order thing. And if like something's out of order and you missed it, you like take all the cards.
Okay.
Yes, we follow the rules.
So like if you're I'm asking because like
I don't let them cheat.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even let my daughter win in sprinting or like running.
No. You got to teach them, try hard, work hard.
I always let her get close enough. And then at the end, I just real quick, and I pull out just like 10 feet in front of her, hit the thing, and I turn around. I'm like, still ain't getting me, still not fast enough, baby. Yeah. Like, you better keep working, pump them legs, and she's like, I'm going to get you next time. Yeah. It's like, be realistic.
That's cute. That's good. Keep working.
Keep working.
Because if you're letting them win.
Yeah. There's no good in that. My daughters are both, they both got asked to be in elite dance groups. And one of them is not totally sure about it. She really wants to try some other things. She's so much like me. It's absurd. Like I was kind of like that as a kid. Like I really wanted to try all the sports, just to see what I liked, it was like a sampler. So she wants to try basketball. She wants to try soccer. She really likes jujitsu, but she's a really beautiful dancer, but she doesn't like the idea of committing because being a dancer is a year round thing. There is no seasons. So it's like you are literally dancing 10 hours a week, every week. Yeah. Competing possibly once to twice a month on the weekends.
How old is she?
They're 10 and 11.
Okay.
Yeah, it's young. Yeah. They chose it. I don't push it. My 11-year-old Azalea is like, she wants to be a professional dancer. Oh. So it's like, well, if you want to do that, and you want me to pay for your dance lessons, then you're also going to let me train you 3 times a week, 45 minutes a day, and you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do. And it's like, so I'm having them do plyometrics and different stuff to like prepare their body so they can jump higher and, move faster.
Be the best.
Be the best.
I love it.
Yeah. It's like, I know something about that. Like I may have never been the best at anything out there, but I'm like, I've trained the best out there. Like, trained Ray Lewis, one of the best linebackers in NFL history, if possibly not the best, statistically speaking, but, NBA players, some of the best, and I've gotten pretty damn close to being the best version of myself, in certain ways as an athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you came by.
Me too.
This was fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. This was a good wine.
What is your wine of the week? I ask my guests for a wine of the week every episode.
Like a wine I drink?
No, like something that's...
That I want to whine about?
Yeah.
Don't fucking whine. I don't like whining. I don't like fucking whiners.
Okay.
I have a rule in my life. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you work for me or if you're my friend. I don't want to hear problems. I want to hear solutions.
Okay.
I don't want you to tell me something sucks and it just sucks so bad. I want you to be like,
something sucks and I did this.
I did this because it sucks so bad.
Okay.
That's the solution.
Okay.
And then you tell me your problem.
Okay.
Because if you're just sitting there with a fucking problem, or if your solution is that you want my help solving it, then ask me. But do not sit there and continue to whine. I'm not giving you empathy, right? I'm not siding with you if it's not a thing that I believe in. I'm not going to buy, I play devil's advocate. I'm a hard contrarian. It's like I want to hear like why
you're a hard contrarian. What is that?
Just like meaning like the idea that I look at everything in the opposite way of the populist view.
Oh, contrary. Okay.
Yeah, because I want to actually see how much I want to see how much the other person believes in what they're saying.
Okay.
And I want to see how much they know about it. One, because I'm going to learn something about it, but I'm also going to understand. I'm also going to get to the bottom of like this conversation really quick. Yeah. If I just play opposite, if I don't believe what they're saying.
Okay.
I don't do it to undermine somebody, but if I don't believe what they're saying, not that I don't like it, because not liking it, something doesn't mean that I don't believe in it.
Right.
There's a lot of things I believe that I don't like.
Yeah.
But if I don't like what they're saying, it's like, oh, well, like, why are you saying that? Why do you think that? It's like, I want to know these things. I want to try to understand it because you're just creating a problem in your mind. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find the solution, and the solution is within the problem. It's like with like, but you have to unpack it first.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't unpack their problems. They just like stay high level with it and like, don't like get down to the root cause of it.
Yeah.
Like weed whacking versus weed pulling. You know?
Yeah, band-aiding the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good quote. Weed whacking versus weed pulling. Shit, write it down, put it in a book.
Cut that for a reel.
Stamp. So I mean, yeah, no whining.
That's your wine of the week. Is no
week. Yeah, stop
whining. Okay.
Yeah, whiners, stop whining.
Where can my whiners listeners find you? Social media, find you not at your house. Your eyes looked weird. Where can they find you on social? Where can they find Strong Coffee? All that.
Yeah, so you should definitely check social media, Instagram at Von Rothfelder.
Okay.
That's my last name, at Von Rothfelder. Strong Coffee Company, Instagram is at Strong Coffee Company. It's important, the company you keep, right? You can tell a lot by somebody and the people they spend the time with.
Yeah.
Strong.
You three seem pretty cool.
Appreciate you. You're cool too now by association.
Thanks.
That
was cool before you guys. Just saying.
Checks out. We're doing our thing on TikTok. We're new there.
TikTok boys.
Please follow us, guys. We have nobody.
Okay.
We are on TikTok, and we're just having fun. But I don't necessarily care about like people following me. But I feel like if you resonate with what I said, or I'm saying, you'll believe in Strong Coffee, and you'll like what we're doing there. Even if you don't like coffee, you'll like what we're saying because we're just promoting people to be great. You know? Like that's.
Well, I checked out your obviously Strong Coffee Company as well, but your personal Instagram, and I really liked your personal Instagram. Like you're showing your family. You're kind of like it's not stuffy, or it's just so. Yeah. I don't know.
Instagram doesn't like it. I've been shadow banned for like 2 years. It's crazy.
Oh my god, I can't even talk about the algorithms. Yeah.
Well, during COVID, I was supplying coffee to some choice Republicans that I wouldn't say Meta probably appreciates.
Okay.
Because I had a friend that graduated from Harvard who was a personal assistant to Candace Owens.
Okay.
So I got Strong Coffee kind of wrapped into the whole Republican Party where they had we had a lot of DMs going back and forth. So I'm pretty sure
you're shadow banned.
They know who you're DMing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And they don't like those people. Clearly Meta does not like Trump. And,
yeah.
Stuff. And I'm not saying I support him. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying that I was sending people coffee that wanted coffee.
Yeah.
That, had influence that I thought were intelligent people, whether or not you believe in what they're saying. If they
like you said before, you don't have to like something to appreciate it or to...
you don't have to like something. Yeah, you don't have to like something to believe it, or vice versa, So people that appreciate my product, I appreciate,
Period.
Somebody's like, I love your product. I'm like, dude, thank you.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. We could be doing 10 million a day and I'd still be excited if somebody walked up to me and told me that they loved my product.
That's so cool. That really, it just shows that it means a lot to you. So
yeah, it's like a chef's dish, it's like, like I put a lot into the formulations and the recipes and the flavors, like obsessive. And so it's like when somebody tries a cup, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm waiting for it.
Right.
Yeah. It's like people have tried to turn around and take their first sip. I'm like, don't do that. What's your face?
Cool. Well, I'm excited to try and
get you plugged up.
Yeah. I'm excited. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Grant, Caleb, thanks for being in the studio with us. Whiners, we'll see you next Thursday. Love you. Bye.
Peace.